Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Upside down is a good way to be. We're going to talk about that. Okay, let's flip over. Flipping the switch. So, a lot of you guys have been telling us, we're here with Kyle Miller and Kyle House, by the way, at Kyle House Fitness on Main. A lot of you guys have been telling us about your New Year's resolution. So, most people say the same stuff, like, I'm going to work out more, I'm going to be healthy, but there are new ways to ensure that they actually may be able to have balance in their own lives and make sure to stick with things instead of going really extreme. So we're going to talk a lot about that today, about mind and body and happiness and health and how it all kind of goes with a yoga-centric way. And most of you are probably like, I've heard all that stuff before, all that spiritual stuff, but it kind of all does really connect. And what we were just doing is like one of the fun ways called Wild Thing. It's a yoga movement.
Wild.
It's wild.
It's wild.
Totally wild.
Yes, I liked it. But we're going to show you what we're talking about and kind of explain ways to keep fitness resolutions and how it connects yoga-centric like we talked about. So let's start telling people what that means and showing them what it means and talking about the big picture. So let's do something.
Yeah, do you want to do one of our staple moves that we like to work on, and it produces a really good stretch and a flex, which we'd like to focus on, is the downward facing dog push-up.
Okay.
So it's really easy to get into position. So Les and Kyle, what I'm going to have you do is come into a downward facing dog. So it's like you're in an upside down V shape. So head is nice and heavy. So it's a little take on the traditional push-up. We're going to focus a little bit more on the triceps and shoulders here. So what I'm going to have you guys do is think about the crown of your head coming down right in between your hands. So you're going to bend your elbows.
Oh.
And then let your head come down. Yep. And then press right back up. So let's try about 5 of these. So inhale down, exhale, push.
Talk about
5. Yeah, so it's really important to focus on the breath here too, because stressful situations, it's easy to hold your breath, but as we work through these actions, you can link up the movement to your breath. So inhale down, exhale, push, helps ease some of the pressure there. All right.
Okay.
Awesome. So that was one variation. You guys can come all the way back up to stands.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I liked it. So that combined, tell people again.
Push up and then also the downward facing dog. So you've got your stretch in the downward facing dog, then you've got your flex in the push up. And then you're moving back and forth between that stretch and that flex, getting a little bit deeper in the stretch and a little bit deeper in the flex each time you do one. So our first one, then our second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, we're working to get deeper into the flex, deeper into the stretch. And that's what makes it a yoga-centric movement. So we've got a yoga move plus a flexing move. So we're working and we're flexing.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they start off really strong in the new year. They just do the cardio, they just do the weightlifting, try to do that every day, but then they neglect some of the stretching and recovery aspects too. So that's super important to get that in, just to have a well-balanced body. So you can continue to do what you love to do.
And no matter where you work out, you should find some place that has the ability to give you a warm-up, the workout, and a cool down, because it's important to get all three, because if you're missing one of them, it's going to lead to injury or it's going to lead to less activity in the future if you're not really stretching and really taking that cool down and that time to get back to normal before you start your regular part of the day.
Let's do like an example of a warm-up movement.
Sure. Cool. So easy warm-up, actually, where we were just in the downward facing dog, but we can show you going from there. There's a traditional vinyasa sequence in yoga. So I'm going to have you come into another downward facing dog. This is a great way to stretch the spine, and then we're also going to show another variation. So I want you to come forward into a full push-up position from here, and knowing that any option you need, you can always bring the knees down to the ground. If you need that option, we're going to lower your chest and hips all the way to the floor. And then from there, we're going to slide the hands back a little bit. We're going to move into what's called cobra. So this is really good movement, especially for our generation that we just have our heads held heavy looking at our phones all the time. So this motion is really good to open up the chest.
You never do that, right?
No.
From here,
never on social media.
We're going to press all the way back up into downward facing dog, and then moving right into a really good hip and spinal twist. We're going to take your right foot to the outside of your right wrist. And we're going to be in a runner's lunge here. And then what I'm going to find now is a nice spinal twist. I want you guys to reach your right arm up as high as you can. And you're going to twist to your right. So here, we're opening up the hips, we're opening up the spine, opening up the shoulders. So really good preparatory movement to get you ready for pretty much any type of fitness. So then from here, we can just take the hands back down. We're going to step your right foot back into that down dog. And just for balance, because we're focusing on that, let's do the left side. So let's step the left foot to the outside of your left wrist. Think about just nice deep breaths. We're going to take an inhale to reach the left arm up nice and high, focusing on that nice deep twist. How are you guys feeling?
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
So this is just a warm up. Just kidding. No.
I'm sweating a little bit, I'm going to say.
And then all the way back up to stand. So that's a good little variation, some yoga postures and movements that help to prep the body.
Okay, and so like we were talking about, a lot of people, when they hit it hard for New Year's, you know, maybe go a little bit too extreme, thinking that they have to work out for 2 hours a day and you have to be sweating profusely, and that's not really the case, right? And nothing happens overnight.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So one of the things we always try to preach as much as we can, the only competition you've got is yourself. So if it's your first time coming into workout, you're not setting your goals based off of the person beside you.
No.
You're not setting your goals based off of what you think you should be doing. You should be challenging yourself every single day to get better. And if that's starting at a very small level, building up, because we don't want to plateau. We want to build up into something good, and we definitely don't want to plateau and then drop off.
Yeah.
We want to work into the actual fitness goals that we have. So if it's to run, don't start running yet.
Yeah.
Go for a walk. If you did good on the walk, then start
Run
to
for
jog.
like 2 minutes.
Exactly.
And walk again.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's all about setting those goals and sticking with them. It's one thing to say, I'm going to work out more. Take a little bit of time or get somebody to help you figure out what that looks like, how to timeline that out, and then you can really set forth on meeting those goals. And by the end of 30 days, you will feel the best that you've felt, and you're going to keep going because you'll know what a challenge actually looks like. And you'll know what that plateau looks like, and you'll keep pushing past it and pushing past it. Because we don't want January to be the only month. We want February and March. We want to challenge ourselves to get better every single month of 2017, making sure that we're looking good and feeling good.
And with the yoga, you know, I've practiced yoga in and out for the years. Every day you do it, you do get stronger, and it is one of those things that is more noticeable to me strength-wise than maybe appearance-wise, but you can feel it. To be able to like hold yourself up like that, it gets a little bit easier every time. So let's do some more stuff. Let's just teach us more stuff.
So here's another fun fundamental yoga posture stance. It's called the Warrior 2 stance. But before we get this, can I ask you guys to grab a weight?
No.
Yes.
So Leslie, how about we grab a 7.5?
Okay.
I'm going to grab a 12.5.
Oh.
All
Okay.
right. So what I'm going to have you guys do, we can face, let's see, we can face this wall right here. Let's bring your feet together. I want you to imagine you're on like a balance beam. So you're going to start with your right foot forward. You're going to step your left foot back. So I like to focus a lot on alignment because it's easy to hurt yourself. Let's say if it's your first time coming into one of these postures, you're going to be really safe with the knees. So as we bend your front knee, I want you to notice it's stacked over the ankle. And then if you drew a line from your front heel, it should intersect more or less with your back middle arch of your foot. So this is a nice Warrior 2 stance. Your chest and your hips are going to be open to your left in this case. I want you to hold the dumbbell right at your chest height from there. Looking good, guys.
Okay.
So what I want to see here, as you inhale, I want you to straighten your right leg. So we're going to extend. And then as you exhale, we're going to bend the right leg and push the weight forward. And then pulling back. So here, noticing your knee, when you come back in, Leslie, I want you to push it a little bit more towards your pinky toe side this way.
Ow.
All right, so now coming back up. Let's do about 2 more times. So focusing on your breath. And I would say you got a little bit longer legs. So I want you to step your foot a little bit longer this way. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
So push yourself.
Exactly.
Push yourself.
Yeah. Alignment is key too in a lot of these postures.
And breathing. Let's talk about breathing and how important breathing is.
Very important, because you think about the physical action. It feels good to get oxygenated through the body. It's going to fuel your muscles so you can perform a little bit longer. But also, it has a calming effect to the mind as well, which is really important. You know, in our Western civilization, we like to go, 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 go all the time. So very important to notice.
Not me.
What are we talking about? So really important to notice how your breath pattern changes. And if you can control it here in these situations, let's say you get into an argument with somebody or emotional stress, you notice your breath pattern can change there.
That?
And then you can control it in that instinct as well. All right, guys. So how are you guys feeling?
Good.
Good.
All right, so it's a little bit of stretch and flex here as well. Awesome. So I'll just have you guys set those weights back.
Okay.
Nice little variation.
Cool.
And so that's a great example of that yoga-centric movement, right? So we're taking a warrior stance, we're grabbing that stretch,
Yeah.
but we're also grabbing that flex right there. So we're not only focusing on working on strengthening the body, but really balancing out the entire system. So working the lower body, the upper body, stretching and flexing the entire time.
And talking about that word balance again, we hear that a lot I hear a lot from moms, especially working moms trying to juggle it all and, create a balance for themselves and their kids and everything like that. Do you think when you start creating a balance in one area of your life, like fitness, that it kind of spreads to other areas?
Yeah, I like to liken it to not just a linear sense, like you have to do one step, then you can move on to the next. Think of it, like a tree. You're building this one foundation, and then the branches start to grow out from there. So it affects everything. So.
And what would you say to somebody who really feels like they have a long way to go? Like everything is just out of balance, everything's a mess. They're like, how can I start, You
want to pick one thing at a time. So if there's a specific vice that you've got, you would be amazed at the difference you can make. If you drink a Coke every single day, and then you decide to stop doing that. So you take cola out of your diet, you're taking hundreds of calories every single month that you didn't even realize you were taking in. Because it's so easy to pop that tab, drink it, then go about your day and not thinking about it, especially the liquids. So if you've got all these things, because the world's ebbs and flows and we all have stresses, we have social environments, pick that one thing that you're going to steer clear of.
And a lot of people have been drinking a lot, like the holidays and the New Year.
Exactly.
Like your liver needs a break, right?
Give your body a break. Choose that one thing that you're going to work on. And that's what he's saying, it's not about getting into a stair step. It's like, what challenge am I going to take on? Can I get better at it? And now that I've mastered that, I'm going to move on to that next thing. So maybe it's starting with the Coke and then moving into eating healthier, or just grabbing a healthier option. Portion control. Drink half of the Coke instead of a full one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
To get to balance. Okay, let's talk about, since we're talking about kind of detoxing, sometimes, I've heard you say before, there's ways in yoga to detox or to wring things out.
So a lot of the twisting postures are actually meant for the detoxing of the internal organs. So it's just flushing, fresh blood in and out from the internal organs. So helping with digestion, along with just stimulating your internal organs.
Okay.
So
is that really for real, Kyle?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is. So one thing we do is, it was our workout of the week 2 weeks ago, and people talked about it a lot. It's called a jackrabbit push-up with a break dancer. A jackrabbit is like a Pilates move, right?
Okay.
So taking a Pilates movement, you're down on the ground, you're in a tabletop position, but then you're going to lift your knees up, right? So then I'm going to grab my push-up, my knees aren't going to touch the ground, and as I come up, this leg's going to come out under, hand comes by the head, then back around. So, right here, and then turn, kick out. So we've got that twist, right?
You're crazy.
We've got our stretch and our flex. So, jackrabbit position, knees come up.
Okay.
All the way down.
Am I doing it right?
All the way up. So we're going to take this leg right here.
Okay.
We're going to take it under. This arm's going to come up.
Here you go, Les.
Right there. Back around. Grab a push-up. Twist around.
Okay.
Right like that.
Leg under.
Perfect. There it is. And then you can walk the hands back. And then you're done. See? So you've got that twist added with the flex and the stretch. So you've got all that movement in the body, but you're also really rinsing out all those stresses, really, is what we say. Turn the stress into sweat.
Yes.
And that's how you do that.
Okay, so how many of those jackrabbits would you have to do to really start sweating, you think?
Probably 10 or so. It depends. So that's another thing. It's not always about speed. Some of these movements are about really taking your time and moving through them. The challenge isn't always speed. It's about how slow can you drop down. How slow can you turn that foot out and twist the body. Then you got to lift the arm. You got 4 movements in there. So you got to break them down and take them one at a time. And then once you get that, that's where run the flow comes from. You start to flow through it. So then you can take that and start to move and add speed. So it's about breaking that down. How am I going to do it first? And where I'm going to take it.
Yeah, cool. And I keep thinking about New Year's resolutions and I'm eyeing like the boxing gloves. So maybe, you know, you're having some issues with anyone, maybe a coworker or
There's a
a
guy behind
boyfriend or anything. Yeah, no, I mean never. But I never really box here, but I want to show people how you can maybe get some aggression out.
So we do some one-on-one private training, and some people ask for really that real big de-stressor, and this is one of the best ways to do that, especially if it's just you and one person doing a private session, because you can start to let a lot of those emotions out without people kind of looking at you or judging you or anything like that, because boxing can be a scary thing. Don't judge anybody.
This new year, that's a good one. That's a good resolution.
It is. So
stop judging
here's the
people.
thing: if you see somebody who's in the gym who might be overweight, and you come every single day, you should really encourage that person. Step up to them, help them out. If they start to copy your workout, take that as flattery and help them out. Because people want to feel encouraged. They want to build a community of fitness.
Right.
And if you shun someone away because they're making a new decision because of a resolution, they're just going to turn around and not be back till next January, or not back at all.
Yeah, or if, you know, like you said, if you see somebody struggling a little bit, you know, stop for a minute. You know,
if you know what you're doing, that's one of those things you got to pay it forward. So just walk up to them and say, "Hey, I haven't seen you in the gym before. Mind if I show you a better way to do this?" That was right there.
And also, let's say, you know, cardiovascular running, walking, jogging isn't your thing. This is a wonderful way to get your heart rate up without having to do high impact work on your legs and knees and ankles.
Yeah, some people don't realize it's, I mean, I'm guilty of that. If I'm not running and sweating, I think I'm not getting cardio, but that's not the case. Like, so what would you describe cardio as? Like, what is the definition of how you know what I mean?
So building your aerobic base, so, you know, elevating your heart rate to a certain extent where you can actually train your cardiovascular system, train your circulatory system to, you know, provide more efficient results, you know, better oxygen uptake in your body, so you can actually train longer and a little bit harder sometimes too.
Yeah, and that builds too, like every time. You can tell one of my little tricks with a trainer is I start trying to have like a conversation with them so I don't have to do something. I'm like, tell me more about that. Okay, let's go.
Let's just do some easy like jabs. So all I'm going to have you do is just hit, and I'm just going to offer a little bit of resistance.
Oh, look, Ellis, they have like E's on them.
That's perfect.
Alright, so then we can pick up the pace a little bit. Nice and tight.
Not thinking about you at all.
And then, are you breathing right now too?
No.
Okay, so very important, keep that steady flow, inhales to exhales. Woo, got a good arm there. So just letting out aggression, wonderful thing. Burning some calories, strengthening the arms and the core. How are you feeling?
Good?
Good, nice.
I shouldn't be imagining a few people on these, should I? I'm so bad.
Let's do like 10 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, boom. Alright.
Boom.
How do you feel?
Boom. Good. Better. Better. So then you can mix that with like some namaste.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can really take aggression out on anything. Like if it's a treadmill, you can run it out and leave all that stress on that treadmill. If it's a bench and you're moving weights or you're doing some of the moves that we just did, you can work through it. Sometimes people have wrist issues, right? And it might bother your wrist to box a little bit, or it might bother your wrist to lift a little bit. You got to find something that works for you. And that's why it's important to make sure that if you're with a trainer or in a classroom setting, that person is offering variations to you. If it's not in your wheelhouse and it's not in your practice, or you're just not there yet.
Hurting.
Yeah, if it hurts, don't have somebody push you beyond that limit, because you really have to listen to your body. That's one thing that we preach a lot, is listen to yourself. Your only competition is yourself. You got to look in the mirror. You know your challenges and you know how you can face them. So don't go above and beyond that, because you got to come back tomorrow. You got to come back the next day, and you got to stay in good health and good shape year round. And if you push yourself for 10 days to the max, you might not come back for another 300.
Yeah, that's true. We were talking about pushing ourselves and like being your own competitor about some variations of yoga poses. So the crow, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's okay if you fall, like I do all the time. That's another New Year's thing, like get back up. So you want to try to do that?
Yeah.
Do I need like that thing in case I fall?
A pad?
Crash pad for you?
A crash
pad?
Yeah, I need a crash pad. Yeah, definitely. But I've been getting better. Like I said, yoga is like one of my go-tos. I have a knee injury. Awful, from falling down the stairs with one of my kids when they were a baby, and I chose to break the fall with my knee.
Good choice. That's a good choice.
So the baby was okay. But ever since that happened, I have like arthritic damage in my knee. So I've had to find different ways to work out. Like many of you, I know a lot of people, especially at our age, have injuries, some injury that they face, and it can really deter people, you know, not even just in the new year, but to not do anything. So I used to be like a marathon runner, and I can't do that anymore. So I've turned to yoga and some other stuff. But I've never been great at inversions because balance is not my strong suit. I'm pretty flexible, but balance is rough for me because it takes patience. And reporters aren't very patient people. We like response, you know. So okay, but I've been getting a little bit better at this.
Exactly.
I still need a crash pad, and that's
Both
okay.
going?
Yeah.
Yes, why not?
All right.
You don't get a crash pad?
All right.
I don't get a crash
He
pad.
doesn't need one.
I don't get a crash pad.
All right, guys. So remember how we set up here?
Okay.
We're gonna have our hands right about shoulder distance apart.
Okay.
We're gonna lift your knees. Remember, we're gonna squeeze like Thigh Master style. We're gonna squeeze nice and tight
Suzanne
past your
Summers.
triceps. Suzanne Summers will be proud.
Okay.
All right. So now from here, we're gonna lean into the finger. Remember, it's a balance. So you gotta lean forward enough. You can lift one leg at a time if you want, or both.
Oh.
There you go, Les.
I don't think I have my placement right.
There you go. Just trust yourself and think about leaning into it just a little bit more. Nice.
Ah!
There it is. So close.
Hard
Yes,
It's hard without something here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you can see too, you know, it's easy to, you know, fall out of some of these balance postures, some of these arm balances, inversions, but I think yoga is a really good teacher in that way, that it's good to learn how to just pick yourself back up, get right back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed with that, it's hard if you don't have some sort of shield going on.
It's like the little deep tissue massage in there too.
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna keep working at it. Is there any other like really cool inversions you guys could show us? I obviously can't. But
That guy might be
You
able
do a fun
to.
little forearm balance. That'd be fun.
that sounds great. It sounds so fun. Okay, show me what.
I can spot you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Kyle can spot you getting into it like we did.
Okay.
That'd be
Should I put?
If you want to do elbows there, if that feels better, I'll do
Go
that.
this
I'll do
way?
that once. Yeah, we'll go this way.
Okay.
And I can face this way.
Okay, so you said to like start out in
Yeah,
like
so-
dolphin.
Dolphin,
So
yes.
think about, you know, like your typical forearm plank setup. You're gonna take the elbows down,
Okay.
and then feet just like that. You're gonna walk your feet forward as far as you can, keeping your head nice and heavy, and then you can offer a leg to Kyle. Good. And then you can push into that leg to then lift up,
And then I'll take it forward.
Okay.
and then we're balancing,
I
right?
could never.
She's doing it!
Yeah.
You're doing it!
Good job.
So why is this good to be upside down? Let's be honest about it.
So
Let's
actually,
be honest about it.
inversions are really good to decompress the spine. So because, you know, we're upright all day, gravity pulls us down. So it's a really good opportunity to help decompress. And then actually stimulate blood flow to the brain.
I need that. Don't I, Ellis?
This is the first interview done in handstand, I think.
And then
There you
it
go.
gives you a nice head rush too when you come up. So yeah, careful coming back to stand.
You might see stars a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's good though. People talk about the rush to your mind, and people do all sorts of crazy upside down, like hanging from contraptions and all that.
Yeah.
You don't really have to go that far, right? You can just have a friend
Right.
help you
Help you out.
with a headstand,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, just be careful if you're trying that at home. You know, get spotters.
And you can kind of, but I guess go up against a wall.
You can go against a wall.
Actually,
Yeah.
wall is a really good spotter as well too.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm okay. Feeling better.
Good.
Let's show
Face is
people some
red.
of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I like the push-ups. that you can-
Yeah. So suspension training is another really good option. Actually,
Oh, that's what it's called.
let's say-
Suspension training.
So let's say people have really bad arthritis in their wrist. So a typical push-up that puts a ton of flexion on the wrist.
Yeah.
So we can actually get the same benefit of that with these guys without having to put your wrist on the ground. I'm just going to adjust these real quick.
Okay.
Dun-dun. All right. So would you like to do the exercise for everybody?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to face towards the camera, and we're going to hold on to a handle on each arm.
Okay.
And then you're going to walk your feet, or step forward a little bit so we get the slack out of the suspension system. We're going to walk your feet backwards.
Oh, right.
And then you're going to extend the arms. Think about right at chest level. So lower your arms just a little bit, right about there.
Okay.
Perfect. So now nice and easy from here, we're going to take an inhale, and we're going to bend the elbows and lean in. Good. And then as you exhale, we're going to press back.
Okay.
So here, she's not having to get all the flexion on the wrist while she's working on this traditional push-up here. And then, let's say if she wanted less resistance, if this was too much, she could step her feet a little bit further away. So we're...
No.
All right. Or more of a challenge.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Should I go farther back or am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the further you go back, that adds on a little bit more of gravity. So just adding in a little bit more resistance.
And anytime you're grabbing a push-up or you're in one of these positions, the immediate response is the hips want to go high. You want to make sure that your neutral spine. A lot of people say flat back and flat spine. We try not to use that language only because no one actually has a flat spine. You got to find what's neutral for you, right? So whatever feels comfortable, but also you can take a look in the mirror and see how the back actually looks.
Yeah, that's important. That's one thing, you know, with people who are starting to exercise on their own and are wondering if they're doing things correctly. What would you advise people to do? Like, to go to a gym and to ask a trainer?
Yes. And then let's say, you know, everybody doesn't have access to a trainer, but maybe they do have access to their own, you know, camera phone. If you can look up, you know, proper form in a picture or a video and then actually videotape yourself doing it, that's
You guys do some demonstrations on
Yes.
social media and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So if you just go to Instagram or, well,
Facebook.
Instagram or Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook. Kyle House Fitness. We do a workout of the day and a workout of the week. You can find the workout of the day on our Instagram story, and then the workout of the week is going to be on Facebook. So you can check those out and see different moves and how to properly do those. And it's really quick tutorials. Then you know the names and you can look them up, you can practice them, or you can come in and take a class where you'll see the movement, or you can get with a trainer that can actually show you how to really, really work on making that better each time you try it.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's do something else. Do people want to know anything? Any valid comments? I only like the
Just
cheering you on.
Just cheering us on. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Only support.
I've got
please.
a really fun core exercise with our suspension trainers. Our definition of fun might be a little different though.
Yes, it is. We talked about that. Yeah.
So Leslie, what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to lower these down just a little bit more. So
Great.
now,
Fun.
I'm going to have you come down into a push-up position, facing that way.
Okay.
Or actually hands and knees, but your face out towards the camera.
Okay. Sorry,
And
guys.
then come on down. And then now I'm going to take your right foot. I'm going to set it in here. I want you to push your heel into that guy.
Push it.
And now left foot's going to come in. And you're going to push your heel in. So now what I want you to try to do is walk yourself forward a little bit more until your feet are actually hovering off the ground.
Hovering off the ground?
Yes. So a little bit more.
Okay. Oh.
There you go. And then think pushing your weight straight down into the suspension trainer there. So how do you feel?
Good.
So now you're going to keep this floating plank position here. And now what I want you to try to do is tuck your knees in towards your chest. And then extend them back out. Woo! This one's tough. And then maybe one more. Maybe another one. All right.
Yeah.
Just easy.
Good job.
Take your knees down nice and easy. Good. And then
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Hovering.
I know. She was floating.
Oh, yeah. That was good. That was a good one. I like to learn things like workout, like the new trends you're talking about, like the yoga-centric stuff, to mix it up. And that's important, too, if you're starting a New Year's workout routine, not to do the same thing, right, every day.
Yes.
Why is that important?
So there's a thing called repetitive stress injuries. So if you do the exact same thing over and over, the chances are of getting one of those repetitive stress injury is dramatically increased. So that's why it's good to, maybe mix it up. Maybe you do cycling one day, maybe you come do a high-intensity interval training class one day, and then going into a yoga class one day. So just finding something to mix it up through the weeks.
Water. And you're supposed to drink water.
Stay hydrated. That's the biggest thing that people
Yeah.
make the mistake of. If your stomach hurts or you're tired or your head hurts, a lot of times it has nothing to do with needing medicine or anything. That's you haven't had enough water.
You're dehydrated.
Really, 120 ounces. If you can hit that in a day, 127.
Well, how many bottles of water is that?
That's about a gallon of water.
Yeah, so maybe about...
That's a small bottle. So.
Yeah, so I have to tell.
Need a bigger bottle.
Yeah, you need one kind of like this. So
this is actually a good gallon size.
it's a good gallon size. It's got a handle. sturdy.
Okay.
It's really great. And then that way you don't have to keep track of it because you know when you finished your gown.
So I need to like be carrying one of those around the TFP.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
And it'll strengthen your arm.
Ellis,
Hold it
I'll
right,
put
hold
it
the
on
left.
our round table.
And then
Good.
always have it within reaching distance too. So just
Oh.
keeping it close by so you can take sips
Yeah.
throughout the day.
Okay.
And one of the things that we always talk about as well with our hip fit classes, they're broken down into body groups. So we're never working the same thing every single day. So you're not going to get into that exhaustion where you're really overworking the muscle every single day because we're hitting upper body, then we're hitting lower body on Tuesday. We're doing some arms and range of motion on Wednesday. We're grabbing core, and then we've got a full body to end the week out on Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
So you can really get a full workout throughout the week without overdoing it on all the body parts.
Yeah. And we were talking about earlier that word yoga centric and how that's a new way to maintain your New Year's resolution. But you just said hip fit, and that's like, you know, we're like sporting those.
Hipsters!
Yeah. But it's not like hipster like you think. What does it mean?
So, HIIP, hipster, that's anybody that comes here and takes hip fit classes. It's something that's caught on. Everybody just refers to everybody as hipsters, right?
Oh, okay.
And so HIIP stands for High Intensity Interval Programming. So it's a little different than HIIT. And why that is what we just talked about, right? So we're hitting different types of muscle groups every single day. That's why the program is so important because it is a programmed workout. You're hitting a warm-up, the workout, and a cool-down. Every single day is a different body group. And you're getting a stretch and a flex the entire time. So we really try to work hard to find something that balances fitness as a whole. We went to different states and different workout programs, and we tried everything that we possibly could for about 2 years. And the thing that we noticed that was lacking was a warm-up that was adequate, a cool-down that was adequate, and then also that stretch, that yoga-centric movement. How can we combine in our workout yoga and weight training to make sure that we're extending the muscle and flexing the muscle at the same time? Because that's what we want. We want an elongated, full muscle that looks good on our body. Right?
We want to look good.
We want to look good.
Feel good.
And look good.
Exactly.
That's kind of the thing we try to press upon people.
That's good.
Don't forget, a lot of people say, oh, well, I just don't want to feel good. But we know we all work out to look good.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about feeling good as well. So it's about hitting all of those things together in one setting that you can get all of that. And then if you need to break it down, you want to go to a yoga class and then do some weight training, find something that works for you.
You're making me want to do something.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
what's this bench?
Here's the
all
bench.
about?
Here's the bench.
Okay.
New toys.
New toy.
All right, an
All right.
easy one that's a great combo move. It's not as yoga-centric, but it's a way to grab a couple of moves in one.
Okay.
So what we'll do, grab 2 dumbbells, probably those 5 pounds right there.
Okay.
Dumbbells, right here.
What? Dum-dum. Oops.
And then you're just going to sit on the edge of the bench, and then you're going to lay down for a regular bench press. So the arms are going to come down to 90 degrees.
Okay.
And then you're going to come up and touch the dumbbells together.
Okay.
So come up, touch them together. So that's the first half of the move. So grab a couple of those. This time we're going to stay down at 90 degrees. You're going to lift the feet up off of the ground. Knees are bent slightly.
Okay.
And then let's start with these hands up here. And as you drop the hands down, the legs go down. And as you bring the hands up, legs go back up. Okay. So now you're combining a core movement and a weight training movement, but you're also stretching out that abdominal muscle the entire time. So, equally important, even if it's not yoga, we're stretching and we're flexing, right? So she's coming down all the way, stretching out the chest, stretching out the shoulder, then she's flexing it together. We're grabbing the stretch, we're grabbing the flex. Each time, and they're equally as important. Sometimes we just worry about the flex. We don't look at that stretch. And what happens is our muscles start to bind up, they get sore, they get overworked, and then we're shot for the rest of the week. And we got to start back next week instead of starting back the next day.
Let's talk about breathing too. How do people know when to breathe in and out? Like with any
Good question.
exercise?
Very, very good question. I always say a good rule of thumb is exhale on exertion. So typically the hardest part in this case is the press and the tucking in action where we're flexing in as tight as we can. So that is the exhale or the out breath for the breathing out. And then we want to replenish that with the inhale. So on the way down, we can inhale and then exhale.
Okay, you guys.
Alright, that was a lot. That was like 10 or 11.
Yes.
It was really good. You're getting an actual workout. It's awesome.
So Yeah, the guns, like maybe one
Yes,
day.
yes. Welcome to the gun show.
Stronger than I look. Okay. Also, I wanted to talk about tying it back into the new year. Journaling. How to hold yourself accountable. And
Good stuff.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I always say if you've never taken a food journal before, it's always a good idea to every single day take everything you eat and drink.
And be honest.
And be honest. Yeah, that's super important.
With yourself.
Yeah. And then portion sizes, because we touched base a little bit on portion control, and not a lot of people know what, an ounce versus a cup, or versus a cooked serving versus a dry serving. So you have to be really careful on portion size and exactly what you're taking in, and that'll help you learn what you're taking in, reading nutrition labels. But then beyond that, I know we talked about this earlier today, but not just the food and drink, but then also your emotional state. Just so, the physical body and the mental body are equally as important. So we want to definitely keep track of, my workout was great today, I felt good, but not every day your workouts are going to feel great. You're going to have different mood
Everybody
swings.
has bad days.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, and then maybe you'll see trending over time, you'll have less and less of those bad days, and it'll eventually come into total positive state of mind.
And nutrition labels are a great starting point. A lot of people don't realize whenever they flip it over, they don't look at the portion size. So, if you look at something that's like a sports drink or an energy drink, there's usually there's usually 2 to 2.5 servings in that one can. So it's a little deceiving. So you look at it and you're like, oh, it's only 210 calories. But if you look at the serving size, it says 2.5. So you're actually getting way above that. And that's how liquids really sneak up on you, especially sabotaging any type of healthy living that you're trying to do.
What's the deal with electrolytes?
Electrolytes, good question. We just did a blog article on electrolytes. It's on our website.
I didn't know.
No, electrolytes are really, really important. So you need those before you work out, while you work out, afterwards. It's one of the ways to stay hydrated. There's different products. There is a couple of chews and some effervescents that you can grab. I think Fast Break here locally has them.
There's little...
Yeah, you just drop them in the water. You drop them in your gallon of water and drink that throughout the day. Also, getting enough salt. So there's a fine line between too much salt and not enough salt,
I
right?
don't like sodium.
Yeah. So if you work out and you don't sweat at all, you probably don't have enough sodium. Also, you can add just a little bit of pink Himalayan salt to your water. So just take a tiny pinch, especially in a gallon, and there's a little bit of sodium. That'll work as an electrolyte. Be wary of sports drinks because they're going to have a lot of aspartame or they're going to have a lot of sugar in them.
Yes.
So you got to be careful because that's where the calories adds up. That's why the effervescence and the chews and things like that are really great. And some of the chews do have carbohydrates in them, but they're going to be more complex and they're great for eating right before you work out.
Yeah.
Then you also need to intake that water if you're eating that electrolyte itself because it's not going to act like water. You have to give the water for it to hold on to.
Okay, you have a question? You're good. Okay, with eating too, we talked about, holding yourself accountable with the journal and, the electrolytes, the water and everything, but how much should people eat? Because there's been so many different theories about, how much in a day? Like some people say you should eat 5 small meals a day, or some people say it doesn't really matter, it only matters about the calories, it doesn't matter when you take it in, doesn't, because you're supposed to keep your metabolism.
Yeah, so we focus on macronutrient. Really fitting your macros, and that's where it gets a little technical, and you really should reach out to somebody that can calculate that for you. They're going to use your age, your weight, your height, your activity level, because everybody's different, and that's one of the things that people make a mistake on, is they try to say, oh, well, I'm going to only have 1,200 calories. Well, you can eat too little and gain weight. Because your body goes into, in a layman way, your body goes into survival mode and says, they're not giving me enough food, so I'm going to store everything that I get.
Right.
So if you're not eating enough calories, you can gain weight. If you're eating too many calories, you can gain weight. So it's really important to get with somebody who can sit down and figure out what those macronutrients look like, and then help you start to understand how to eat healthy.
How do you find people like that?
We do that here. We can do macronutrients. You can also really good trainers should be able to do it. So if you've got a trainer already, or you have a friend who's a trainer, or you want to come to a business that does that for you, reach out to them. And macronutrients.
Okay. There's lots of new words today.
There is.
Concentric, macronutrients.
So your macronutrients are your carbs, proteins, and fats.
Yep.
And we need a certain amount each and every day depending on our age, our body fat percentage, our height, and our activity level. So everybody's different. There's not one easy way to look at it.
Yeah.
And also, don't be afraid of carbohydrates, right? A lot of people cut all their carbs
white
out.
sugar, right?
Very important.
Sugar,
simple.
Like
we'll
white
stay away from that.
bread, white potato, white pasta, those are bad carbs, right?
A little bit. It just depends. Everything in moderation, right?
Oh, really?
I mean, you're not going to eat a giant bowl of white rice, right?
No.
So just a tiny portion, a cup size. And
But is
then
brown rice better?
it depends. So one's a complex and one's a simple.
Okay.
I would say grab your white rice before you work out. If it's early morning, something like oatmeal and things like that.
Okay.
And then more of your complex that stays with you throughout the day.
Interesting. Yeah, you really have to get educated, obviously, about all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, we're talking about how you guys think warming up and cooling down is essential. Let's do some cool down
Some
stuff.
cool down?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So really
As long as we
simple.
don't do happy baby.
I
don't think that's.
Oh, you don't think they can?
I don't think that's appropriate.
We are on the internet.
I know, we are on the
But
internet.
So I feel like easy place to come to is just laying on your back. So it's a really good place to do some really passive, easy stretching patterns. And also a good place, just, the floor is supporting you, you don't have to hold yourself up. So I'm gonna have you guys lay down all the way onto your backs.
Okay.
And then we're talking about the detoxing as well earlier.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a simple spinal twist to start. So,
Oh, hey, we're in this together.
so we're gonna hug your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice big hug. And then from here, we're gonna have you guys let your arms just come out to the sides to a T. And then you're gonna let your legs just drift over to the right from here. So this is what we were talking about, one of those twisting postures, helps to aid in digestion. We're also rinsing out the spine. We're getting a nice shoulder and chest stretch here.
Supposed to move your head the other way.
Very good point.
Good job.
We can
It's
actually
buddy
get it.
accountability. That's what you got to look for.
Accountability partners are awesome. And
No
then
problem, buddy.
we always focus on the breath in these movements too. So it's really important to not cut off the flow of your inhale and exhale. So think about taking nice deep in breaths. You might even feel your body start to lift off the ground a little bit, and then take nice easy exhales. And then how about one more breath on this side? And I always like to link up movement with breath. So on your next inhale, we're going to bring the legs back to center. And then as you exhale, let the legs drift over to the other side. So balancing off, right versus left, and just let your head turn off to the other side. Good.
This one I just want to stay here all day.
Just chill out here.
Just lay here.
Little nap time. So this is a good example of a good spinal twist. And I'll show, let's do another one good for runners, cyclists. The piriformis is actually a muscle group that gets really, really tight.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring your legs back to center. We're going to set the feet down now. And we're going to do what's called the figure 4. So we're going to cross your right leg over your left thigh.
Oh, yeah.
And then from here, what I want you to do is grab or reach behind that left thigh and pull that back in towards your chest. So what we should be feeling here is a nice stretch on the outer thigh or the outer buttocks area.
Mm-hmm.
And what you can actually do to even get a deeper twist here or stretch, you can take this elbow and push into this thigh, or actually still holding on to that leg with that arm too.
Here.
Back where it was, clasping together. And then think
Oh,
about using
just
that to just
pushing
pry that off to the side there, and then pull back just a little bit more so you can get a little bit more intensity into the stretch that way. Feel pretty good?
Yeah, Kyle.
All right, so now let's do balance and hit the other side. So we're just going to uncross, take the other leg over.
So always try to do both sides.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And then a good thing to note, you might uncover an imbalance in the body. So let's say you do it on the right side, it feels pretty easy, but then it's a little bit of a struggle to get it on the other side. So little awareness that, hey, my hip's a little bit tighter on this side. Maybe, spend a little bit more time on that one side to balance it out. All right. Guys feel pretty relaxed now?
Yeah.
Good. Nice.
And while we're here, this is one of the important things about a cool down. So wherever you go work out, ensure that they give you a cool down. You deserve it. When you really hit hard in a workout, it's not good to leave with all those emotions and all of that craziness. You got to take at least a couple of moments, sit there and stretch. Really have somebody who walks you through it, not only mentally but physically. Really taking the body back down.
Yeah, my favorite is just the Shavasana.
Yeah, you got it.
Just
Yeah,
right
good
here.
Sanskrit.
Yeah. I never remember the names of any. Yeah.
So this is, total relaxation pose. Another translation is corpse pose, but just
Oh.
finding, I don't
My
really,
favorite
more
pose.
I don't really like saying that translation. It's a little weird. But the idea here, and sometimes this is actually the hardest posture for some people to
stay
work on.
still.
Just people that super A-type personality, like how to stay still.
It's like super easy for me though. Lazy, right?
It is, yeah. You kind of relax into it.
So just like, training your muscles, you have to train your mind as well. So
and you should like, I'm like closing my eyes because I'm used to closing my eyes when I do this, but you can just, in yoga, any good yoga teacher lets the class do this.
Exactly. So any stimulus that we can take away, because we're bombarded with everything every single day. So if you can take away the sense of sight, your brain doesn't actually have to process every single time it looks at a new object. So you can take a lot out of the mind from that aspect too.
And so after each class, when we get into the cool down, this is our first starting position. Then we take the lights down all the way. There's a little bit of LED still flickering in the background, but for the most part, we want people to kind of take the mind and body connection and listen to their body, and then realize what they not only accomplished for themselves, but also to listen to your body and know if there's anything that is bothering you or that hurts or that you need maybe a little more attention in once you start your stretching.
Yeah. And then you feel like you're ready to face the world.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. Set the mind right.
I know.
Ready to rock.
People didn't realize they were going to watch us sleep for 5 minutes.
I know.
And then nap time.
Yeah. Well, this was really fun, and I hope you took away not only some examples of some movements, and I think that's what's great about yoga too, is that you don't need a bunch of different toys, even though like the bench and the, what's that called again?
Suspension training system. So there's TRX and some other different brands out there.
But that stuff is really cool, but if you can only, have 30 minutes, you can just use your body to do the yoga stuff, and I hope we provided some of that for you. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for being here.
And, make it a happy 2017.
Exactly.
And, like we talked about, it all, mind, body connects.
And take your time. You have 365 days. So you don't have to get it all done in the first 2 days, right?
It's amazing how much you can change in a year.
Yeah,
it is.
It's crazy.
And sometimes that challenge is just an educational process, right? I spend a couple of days every New Year's just trying to find better ways to do the things that I already do, and then start to add in things that I haven't been doing.
Wow, Kyle.
I know, it's so deep. God, he's so emotional and deep. He's so good. Oh.
Now you know I hang out with these two, right? Okay, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.